I want to see pledges and commitments to action and change beyond performative allyship. I still care about sustainability, but also I don't need a new pair of sweatpants enough to like not care about how Pangaia's founder may be a racist. Hey everyone, it's me, Cynthia. Welcome back to Inspiro. As you can tell from today's title, I'm going to be sharing some of my updated opinions on sustainable fashion brands I no longer follow. These are all the brands that have gotten some dirty laundry aired recently. I'm going to speak specifically to the ones that I've supported in the past because I don't think it's okay. I'm also going to be sharing some brands that I've been following on Instagram that I think are doing it properly or are leading examples of what we should be looking at as consumers for anti-racism, for Black Lives Matter, those who are speaking out. So let's get into this video. I also want to quickly note that today is June 10th. This is based on what's happened up until now. So I'll try to keep this updated on my Instagram, and if a lot of things change in the future, I'll probably film another update video, but I'm going to start with Pangaia as an example. So Pangaia, I bought a sweatsuit from them. I filmed this whole review video and I really fell in love with their brand because of their sustainability from what I saw with their production, their material science, their research. And recently some news aired this photo of their founder, Mira BLM, and it stunned me. I know you guys have a short attention span, so let me just sum it up. Mira BLM is this Russian investor. She has a lot of money. Her dad is like a counselor on the Russian Federation. She has a couple of companies. She also founded Fashion Tech Lab, which is a hybrid like investment and technology company. Has invested in brands like Reformation, and it's also, I think, probably how she also has founded the Pangaia. She herself and her actions is what's being aired right now in terms of racism and really shady stuff. This photo aired of her a few years ago from a photo shoot using a Black woman as a chair. Back in January of 2018, she also had some controversy over transphobia, homophobia, things like that, which she has apparently apologized for and acknowledged. And also her relation to Reformation. Reformation's also been under a lot of attack because of corporate racism. I'll leave a link to this post down below. Highly recommend swiping through all of it. And the founder is Yale. And here's a photo of Yale and Miroslava together. So there's all of that. And then the last thing I want to point out is I found a photo of Miroslava, founder of Pangaia, and these 5 white women who I assume to be exact levels of the Pangaia. So not so much diversity there. I have listened to that podcast with, I'm pretty sure, one of these 5 women. She knows a lot about sustainable tech, bio-based fiber. So I think they could be qualified. I'm not sure. I don't know that much. But basically, Miroslava is under a lot of attack, and I do agree with that. I think that she needs to do a lot of anti-racist work. I think she needs to make a statement versus just making her Instagram private. I think she's very rich, so she should at least donate like $1 million to Black Lives Matter charities and organizations. But she's been silent, obviously, because people have been calling her out for it. I think she probably posted a black square, like something to support Black Lives Matter, and that's why people were furiously airing this dirty laundry. But let's bring this back to the consumer point of view. I was so upset and infuriated when I saw this, and then after doing the reading, we care about sustainable fashion, and I think that there are certain brands that are leading the way in terms of sustainable innovation and research. And it's sad to say, but I'm pretty sure Fashion Tech Labs, which is founded by Miroslava, is one of those companies. So where do we draw this line between, do we hold them accountable, do we not support, what do we expect? I think there are 2 different conversations here. One is Miroslava needs to make a statement, maybe step down, maybe whatever, but she needs to acknowledge this, apologize for it, and make it right, and continue to commit to doing the work. On the Pangaia side, they sent me this DM. It was very vague, and I think that's the other conversation. I think I don't hold Pangaia accountable for what Miroslava has done, because how could we hold brands accountable for founders and investors? Even though I still think it's shady, like I think there has to be a statement there from both ends. But the other thing that I want to look for is transparency from Pangaia. So here's the other conversation. Here's what I think I want to see from brands moving forward for me to support them. I'm adding this as part of a checklist that I have in terms of like, is a brand ethical? Are they sustainable? All of that stuff. We already have to look for so much. Why not just tack this on? I want to see pledges and commitments to action and change beyond performative allyship. And examples of this are Biossance, my fave clean skincare brand. They were one of the first brands I saw doing this. They basically looked and shared a percentage breakdown of their team from their like workers to their exec level. And they made pledges to hire from black pools of applicants, or like things to actually get qualified BIPOC people into their funnel, and to also invest in building that pool out more. Girlfriend just announced something similar today. They shared a percentage breakdown of their very small team and also their commitments to making a change, you know, diversifying, hiring qualified black people. So Shop New Classics, if you guys don't know, is a Canadian like online collection curator of sustainable brands, and through them I bought my base range joggers, and they are founded by Alyssa, who is also Canadian. She's a person of color, and they're an example of a brand that's smaller, that where I really believe in the founder. And another example of that is Amarilo, which is an LA-based jewelry company that's founded by Akis, is her Instagram handle. I'm so bad at remembering names, but I remember Instagram handles. And that's also where, like, I'm not sure where I sit yet, where it's like there are these smaller BIPOC owned and led companies that are doing amazing things that I will always support first. Like, they're my priority in terms of like who I stand by. And I think that's amazing because you can follow these like founders on Instagram, and I think they've been posting really helpful resources, and I can tell that they're also very passionate about anti-racism. But where I sit as a consumer is that, like, yeah, that's amazing, but these smaller companies don't have access to the same resources and the same economies of scale and the same technology that comes with being a bigger brand like Pangaia. So it's like, where is that line? You know what I mean? But that's what I want to see. It's like, you know, when it's a brand that cares, because they're also vocal about voting, and they're also vocal about not just who they're donating to or what BLM organizations they're supporting, which is what that initial Pangaia comment was. And I still feel very iffy about that. Like, I think we know as consumers when people are kind of just, when they have vague statements, you know what I mean? So to summarize those last few minutes of what I was saying, I expect all brands to be transparent about their team build up, their percentage breakdown, and what they're doing next to implement this change and to be a part of this revolution. Whether that's hiring diversely, investing in resources or like education to help diversify their pool of applicants, all of that stuff. If founders have been tied to racist slurs or comments or controversies like that, like, I expect a statement, an acknowledgement, and an apology right away, and I expect like action items and next steps. Like, that is the bare minimum. I feel like it's hard to separate a brand from its founder. I think in this case with Pangaia and like FTL and Miroslava, like, I'm still iffy about it, but those are what I know I need to see soon, or else like that's it, you know what I mean? I still care about sustainability, but also I don't need a new pair of sweatpants enough to like not care about how Pangaia's founder may be a racist. So that's where I stand right now. And then the other brand I want to talk to is Everlane. I've been thinking about making like a dedicated video to Everlane because there's a lot to unpack there. You guys know I did a sponsored video with them end of last year. I was very excited about it because it was my first like legitimate sponsorship. I've learned so much through that time, where even in that video, I specifically chose items that were sustainably made, or denim from the Saytex factory in Vietnam. Things that I knew like actually had a baseline of sustainability, because Everlane is a very big company now, and I think even just in terms of like their production scale and how many styles they have, I don't think that is very sustainable, to be honest with you. And yeah, transparency is cool. I'm glad that they're transparent about their factories, and I think that does mean ethical labor. But when you reach that scale And when you reach that size of production, I feel like that's when things get a little iffy. But the thing I want to highlight on top of that is that this is an example of a brand that has also shared percentage breakdowns and has made commitments to change. So you think, okay, like Everlane is cool to support. But then I also found out that they're anti-union, meaning they're like, Bernie Sanders like tweeted out something about their anti-unionization stuff. I need to include a screenshot because I don't have this off the top of my head, but I was like, holy shit, like this is a real deal. And how can you say that you're an ethical, transparent company when you don't want your workers to unionize? Like, I do not understand that. So everything else aside, like that is the main reason that I do not condone supporting Everlane right now until they allow their workers to unionize. And then after that, like let's say they do, here's my tea with them. And let me know if you want like a full video on this, but I just want to like put this brain nugget out there and like see how you guys feel about it if you're like this far into the video. I feel like Everlane is one of the most well-known companies and like the first step that people take into ethical and sustainable fashion, because what they're able to do is, because of their economies of scale, they offer more affordable, sustainable alternatives than like other companies. Like, for example, the alpaca sweater that I honestly loved at the time of the video, like one of the main reasons I wanted to film that video. Alpaca knitwear from a brand like Eileen Fisher is $500 to $600 retail. And you can get an alpaca sweater from Everlane for what, like $120, $150, because they also cut out that middleman pricing. And I think that is a good thing. I think one of the biggest obstacles for people switching over into more ethical and sustainable choices is price. For what they've done in terms of consumers who would typically shop Forever 21 or Aritzia or Zara, for a lot of people, I think you can admit that they are the reason that you could kind of learn more or like enter into this new area of consumerism. So I don't know, that's how I feel so far. I think I need to do more research on that, but I want to reiterate, I want to see them doing something about allowing their workers to unionize, because I think that's crazy. I want to shout out Diet Prada. They post a lot of the tea coming out on companies, and then I also want to share this account, which is where I learned about the Pangaia. I recommend following them if you're really interested in this stuff. Again, here are all the brands that have some dirty laundry aired, like Adidas and Anthropology for like racist sales floor tactics, and Bandu. I don't really know a lot of these because they're fast fashion companies that I don't care about. Oh, and of course Aritzia, because I know a lot of you Canadians, and I know in the past, like I really liked Aritzia. Definitely sweat through and read them, because I think it's important right now for us to use our voices and to vote with our dollars, even if it means just like not buying for a while until we hear what these companies have to say. That's how I feel. That's kind of what's on my mind right now. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments below. If you haven't been following these things on Instagram, I'd highly recommend it. I'll try to continue to keep you guys updated on YouTube. I think this has needed to be translated over into the YouTube space, and that's why I wanted to create this video. You can tell that I'm fired up about this. It was just my tipping point last night when I saw the Pangaia one, and I'm going to say this on here too. I am so sick and tired of us having to do so much research in order to be good consumers. I think, first of all, the intersectionality between anti-racism and sustainability, like please read into that. I'll leave 2 links below. There's also a really good Vogue article sharing the thoughts and perspectives of Leah, who is an environmentalist, sharing why every single environmentalist should care and be an anti-racist. So highly recommend checking that out. I am sick and tired of brands still being able to pollute our world and like the capitalistic nature of everything. Like the bare minimum should be ethical labor and sustainable production. And I don't know why it's still on us and why the onus is still on us as consumers to be good consumers, spending hours researching, which is like all of my videos, or like trying to figure out if a brand is greenwashing or if they actually care about their workers and about the waste that they're letting out into the environment, you know? Like, are they using the toxic sludge to build homes, like girlfriend, or are they putting the toxic sludge back into the environment, which then negatively affects marginalized communities the most? Like, all of this is intertwined. I just wanted to say that on here because I feel like all of this is linked together. Like, a revolution is happening, and I think we are actually very vocal right now, and I think that's a good thing as consumers. So anyway, I hope that if you haven't known about any of this, like if you could learn anything about any of these brands through this video, that would make, like, that makes me so happy, because I just want to build exposure for this, and I don't think this is a conversation that should fade away with time. I think this is something that we should continue to hold brands accountable for. I'm still learning, unlearning, relearning. My perspectives on brands and the brands that I support will change as they continue to come out with statements that are good or bad. I'm still keeping a list of brands that I think are doing good and not good. I'm working on a blog post on that. I'm working on a blog post on my framework and mindset, like basically my checklist of like when I want to support a brand, what am I looking for to see if they actually adhere to my standards and my values. So stay tuned on the blog. It's probably going to take me a while, but I'm going to try to have those two resources up. And let's have a conversation in the comments. I'm very fired up about this. I think we all should be. I'm just like, we pay so much money for sustainable brands, and I get it. Like, fast fashion has made it cheap for fashion, and that shouldn't be the standard. But I think we need to normalize higher prices for sustainable goods, but we also need to normalize these standards in the industry. Like, we need to stop buying from brands that are benefiting off of paying like $1 a month to like a worker in India, you know what I mean? So I hope this video was articulated well. Like, I'm probably gonna need to do some massive editing to make sure it is, but please understand that I'm just super passionate about this. I want to get this up because I think this is a very important and timely conversation, but also this is a marathon and not a sprint. I'll continue to speak on this. I created a video on Black Lives Matter and anti-racist resources. Please check that out if you're looking for more info. I'll always be the most vocal and timely on Instagram, so if you want the quickest updates, please follow me on there. And yeah, I'm gonna try to get these blog resources up. I'm gonna probably film more videos on this. If you want more videos and more details on anything that I talked about in this video, please let me know down below. Like, let's chat about it. I respond to all of my comments. I hope you guys are doing as well as you can in these times. It's a heavy time. No, I'm right there with you. Anyway, I'm drinking a beer because I don't have wine on me, and I really just needed something to cut through this humidity and this vibe today. Sometimes I'm just so disappointed and let down, and like there's no winning, you know? But all of this is important. I still believe that there's positive change coming out of all of this. Is my channel gonna become a tea spill channel on sustainable fashion brands? Maybe, if that's what we need. You know what a good thing is? Our most sustainable clothes are the clothes we already own. We don't really actually need a lot of new stuff because happiness doesn't come from buying new things. But I also get that fashion is a form of expression, and I'm right there with you. And that's why I care about being able to express myself with my clothes. We could still thrift.